Hi, guys. My name is Amena K. Thornton, and you are listening to One Up Podcast. You could see all these live episodes as well by going to amena.media in your web browser. Today, we are doing another message of hope, struggle to success. And today, we've got on Angela Ochieng. Is that correct? I got it.
Yes.
Okay. She's going to tell us about her struggle to success and then, how's that changed her and made her amazing. Because I've seen the things she's done or doing, should I say. I haven't known Angela too long, but I could see she's very flexible. She's very giving, and she has a lot of things that she's definitely going after and doing. So I'm excited to hear about all her projects as well. So where would you say, Angela, where did this all start? Where was your struggle in everything?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amina, for the introduction, and thank you for the time that we're getting to spend together. I'm really happy, just having this conversation, and the message of hope is just so amazing. I learned so much from everyone that you've interviewed so far. It's
I
so
see.
cool.
Yes, you've been watching them?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually watched the gentleman that yesterday. He was originally from China, and he was talking about
Oh, that was
how,
Wang. What's his first name? Daniel Wang.
yeah,
Yeah,
I really
Daniel Wang.
liked him. I definitely agreed. Like, a lot of the stuff he talks about is kind of similar to my story as well. So I think it's so
Oh,
cool.
cool. It is when you find that same, common thread, I guess. It's just like, it's
Yeah,
kind of like a relief too, because you're like, wow, here I thought I was the only, one that was, dealing with that same dynamic. I listen to him too. Now that I got it on the Alexa right next to me now on the
yeah,
Echo.
yeah,
I finally got it figured out yesterday. So I listened to like three of them yesterday. And I was like,
yeah.
it's just nice to just re-listen to them too, because there's stuff that you miss. Even I miss. Like, oh, I should have asked more about that. And
Mhm.
that's interesting that they did, mention that. So there's
Yeah,
even stuff to take away from it, listening to it again.
there's always
Yeah.
something to take away. I think for me, can you hear me? I'm gonna put this microphone, maybe if you can.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So, wow. Message of hope. Where my struggling began. So my story is I'm first generation here in America. So all of my family is from Kenya in Africa. So that in itself, that totality, when I really think about it, I never really realized why my life was the way it was until now,
Mhm.
as I'm examining my life before. But I think it was just me being first generation here, literally being the first person ever born here in America. The rest of my family is African.
Yeah.
It was definitely a struggle because me being in America, I found myself now looking back that I was really figuring myself out, my identity, and I was also people pleasing. And I never really fit into any environment. When I was in African American spaces, I didn't really fit in. Or if I was in a space that was, the neighborhoods I grew up was mostly Caucasian, and I never really fit in those spaces. And even going into African spaces, I never really fit in. So I found myself that I was kind of in limbo
So that's
with just
that
my
is very
identity.
much, yeah, like Daniel's story as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Because
I was
he
like,
was
wow,
first,
yeah.
yeah, because he was first Canadian, I guess. Well, kinda. I mean, he moved over when he was really young, so he didn't really, live in mainland China like his parents
Yeah.
did, like really experience it. But yeah, I can see the similarities in your story
Yes.
now. Yeah.
So I think really, and another thing too, I grew up in a single mother household. So me being first generation, I was like a mother and father to my younger siblings. So I never really had a childhood. I had to grow up really fast at an early age. So with that, and then not really knowing how to identify like not really knowing myself, because, you know, my mom was working all the time. My dad was still in Africa, working all the time. So I really had, you know, I had people around me, but they never really understood. The only person that really understood was my best friend. And she also was first generation too. So that really helped.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
then as I grew up, when I was in high school, like leaving high school, well, that in itself was, I went through depression and everything like that. You know, a lot of things happened in my life, you know, first love and things like that. And I went right after high school, I went to the airline industry. So I became a flight attendant.
That's
And
amazing that you just were like, I'm gonna go be a flight attendant, you know, right out of high school. I mean, that'd be like the farthest thing I would ever think I could accomplish, you know, out of high school. Thinking back on my high school years and just like I suffered like the depression too, because
yeah,
all the people that I hung out with were older than me and they were already long gone by the time I got out. And so yeah, it was this weird like, okay, now what? You know, what do I do
that's
now? You know?
exactly, that was me. A lot of the people I hung out with was older too. And I think it's just because I had to really mature,
Yeah.
you know, at a young age. And when I went to the airline industry, it was really awesome because like the whole reason why I wanted to go to the airline industry is because I wanted to find myself, know myself more, and see what I wanted to do with my life. But actually what I was going to do is I was going to join the military, but then I chose being a flight attendant instead.
And your parents were like, go for it. Or your mom, I would say, right? Because was she still single at that time?
Yeah, she was. And actually, me going into the airline industry, I'm from a small town, Pennsylvania, and where I was going was all the way to California. And a lot of the people around me didn't really agree with that. So really at that time period, I was by myself, really, you know, going to the interviews and everything like that. If you know how long and extensive the flight attendant interviews are, they're pretty long. But
Wow.
when I actually got hired, that's when I really started to receive that support. So during that, a lot of people, and you know, it's now, you know, it doesn't bother me. Like everyone has their own journey and different things that's going on. So I didn't take it personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but at the time you're just like, well, nobody really sees my vision, and here I am. You know,
Yes.
it's hard when you know you don't have that support. And I think a lot, all of us, that's you know, come on the show or even hasn't told our story yet, that want to tell our story. We always come to that point that's like, you know, I feel very alone. I feel like you know I can't get through this, and then you know you realize that you've already accomplished so much, you know, and then finally you know, you come to the realization, well, what is that, you know, what does that make? Why is that different? Why is that different? You know, why has it become like what we really want? It makes it so much harder. But the stuff we don't want, like at all, it's so easy to
Yes,
accept. It's so easy to like go for. And
exactly.
people like cherish that more, like our outside, you know, support and stuff. They're like, yeah, you should definitely do that. You should go work for, you know, Kmart or something because you
Yeah,
should definitely do that. But yet it's like, I want to travel the world and go, you know, be a stewardess. And they're like, no, no, I don't see that happening. It's just like, why is that? Especially
yes,
because, you know, you're so passionate in that. You would think that more people would be more supportive because they're like, oh, well, you have ambition. You definitely want to do this. You got it, you know? I don't know. I don't know
exactly.
what that is. Is it just culture, I guess? Maybe it's just culture, like the way we were all brought up.
Yes. You know, now what I've realized is that, you know, when you're telling someone of what you want to do, your vision, the people that don't support you at the time or anything like that, it's not personal. It's just they're not aligned with it. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
You have to, the further you go into your vision and who you want to be, you're going to find people who you're aligned with and who are going to get you, you know?
It's true. It's true. Like my whole network's totally different than a year ago. Like totally
Yes.
different. And it's so interesting to look back and thinking where I was at a year ago and then who I like manifest into, like, cause this is where I wanted to be. This is who I wanted to become. And I strived for it every day. And I networked with other people that, I was inspired to be like. And it does. It falls in place, and you find that you have a lot more in common with the people that you're aligning with, that you want to be like. And even like yesterday, I was one of the gentlemen that came on, Seth. Let me see if I get his last name. Przensky. I'm sorry, Seth, if I'm messing that up. But he was definitely like we were talking about his journey and stuff, and he was talking about being an entrepreneur and all the stuff he struggled through. Well, his story was something I never experienced. He actually went to prison and then reformed himself and went back to his grassroots because he was born with the grassroots and stuff like that, very nature. And you could definitely see that, and I can relate to that too, where it was just like we have this base, like we know. It's funny how we kind of know ourselves as a kid, but we kind of lose it as we get older. And then, so I felt kind of aligned in that too. And I'm like, yeah, I feel that, and then you relate and you feel good that you're with people that understand you. You're with people that get you,
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I agree with you so much. Like me going into being a flight attendant. So I've been a flight attendant now for almost 5 years. And within me being a flight attendant, it was super great. Got to, travel the entire world, meet amazing people. And
your pictures. Yeah. Look
yeah,
amazing. I should have been a flight attendant.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I think silently something I was dealing with in between that was really, I also felt stuck in that lifestyle as well. And, because on the outside, everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. You're traveling the world, you're meeting people, you're doing all these things. That's awesome.
Yeah. But you didn't feel like that was it. You didn't feel like this was it. This is what I'm going to do, and you felt like there was something more for you, basically.
Yeah. I really, when I got into mainline, getting into the airline that everyone wants to go into, everything like that.
Now mainline is like a actual what would it be, like a network, or is it a flight, or?
So mainline airlines are basically, I can't say my airline I work for on here, but if you go on my profile, you can see it's basically, that's the airline that goes international and everything like that.
Okay. Yeah, I would just
or only around the States.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was in that, really, I started to change because I went into airline at such a young age. And that in itself, I was still in a space that.
How old were you at the time?
I was 19.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, about 19.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And funny enough, when I did my application at 19 years old, the day after I submitted my application, they changed the age to 21 because 21 is the age that you're supposed to go to, that they hire people for the airlines.
Wow.
So maybe one airline left is hires at 18, but all the airlines hire 21 and older.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, everything started to change. I still wanted to experience experiences, but I wanted to be more settled. Just things change in life, as you get older. And then something happened to me and I got my flight benefits taken away.
Mm-hmm. That's hard, especially because that's what
Oh,
you've been working for 5 years, right? Like
yes.
5 years at the time. Yeah.
Yes. The universe, I always say, now I'm smiling because like I'm in a different place
Yeah,
right now.
you are.
But then
Yeah.
it was really hard because that's something that I identified with so much, you know? And I mean, everyone that saw me identified like, oh, that's the, lady that she travels the world. She does these things. And now that's taken
I
away.
see. That was your
Who's
identity.
left?
Yeah, that was your
Exactly.
identity.
And
Yeah.
it's like when I was younger, I was just in limbo trying to fit in and everything.
So you
And I
felt
didn't
like,
really know who I
did it
was.
actually bring up those memories before when you hit that? When you
Yeah.
hit that pinnacle where it was just like your flight, you can't fly anymore. Did that bring up that same feeling, and you're just like, not this again? Like,
Yeah. I think it really did. I was really depressed because it's like when you're in that point, it's like, what did I do wrong? I should have not done that. Like you try to relive what
yeah,
happened
true.
over and over again. And it's like, it's already done. And I was so sad. And at this point, so when I was younger, I've always been a person that was very spiritual and very just like deeply connected to things, which was very different in, where I was at because a lot of the people were very surface level people. So
Mhm.
I found myself like really the deeper layers of myself kind of shoving that down and being like, no, I can't show that part of myself because people don't understand that.
Yeah, I understand. I understand because now I understand. I didn't for a very long time, and really, I didn't really probably even until this year did I really understand there's a difference. Because when I was brought up, we never practiced religion, but it was always like the friends, the neighbors, everybody had to go to church to be spiritual, and I felt a different type of spiritual.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what does that make me? I mean, does that make me not honest? Does that make me not less caring, less, something? But as much as I tried, like I went to French churches, I just didn't have the same feeling. I always felt more connected to nature and like, what's around me and speaking out to, if you want to call it God, if you want to call it, spirit or whatever. But I remember being really religious in my own way, in my own spirit, and talking to the universe.
Yeah.
Even as a young child, I can clearly remember going out into the woods and like praying for stuff and asking for, direction and things. But I felt that was wrong. I felt that, that was the wrong way to ask for stuff. I had to go to church. I had to like learn all this stuff in the Bible. I mean, because that's what, my whole community was doing. So, it wasn't until, like I said, really this last year, I realized, through mindset, through all the things that I do, that, I was on the right path. It was
Yeah.
just, everybody around me that was grown up or, took for their reality something different, which is totally fine. But, I'm at peace with it now that I'm just like, okay, well, my religion is the same. We just practice it differently. Is that how you feel too?
Yes, I agree with you. Like, even from a young age, like, I was just a very deep spiritual person. Like, I would just go outside, like you said, and
Yeah.
really, like, talk to the universe and God and just do those things. But I always did that in secret. I never
Yeah, me
showed
too.
that
Me
part of
either.
myself.
Ever. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh,
I didn't, the people around me, I was like, they're not gonna get it. My
yeah.
best friend,
Because
she
nobody
did
talked
get it.
about it. It was
Yeah,
never talked about. It wasn't like, hey, this is a different way if you want to practice this way. It was always
exactly.
like, no, there's only one way. And if you don't do it that way, then bad things are going to happen. It's just like, well, I'm not connecting here. I don't know.
Yes,
So,
that
yeah.
is so true. And, when I was in this depression point, I tried everything. Like, I did meditation and yoga and, looked at advice and all of these things that, we do, getting information, the dark night of the soul, all those things. And I loved those things. Those things were amazing. But what really helped me, and I believe that people are put in your life really for a reason. Like the people I've met when I was in the journey of really being stuck and depressed were really into health and wellness. And this gentleman actually showed me life coaching. I never knew what life coaching was. I was like, oh, that's kind of what I've been doing all my life.
Yeah. I know. Like, that's a thing. Yeah. I know what you mean. I thought the same thing. I'm like, wait, you can actually do that, So yeah. No, I'm with you there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I got into life and health coaching, and I got certified, and I'm still learning and doing more certification.
Yeah. And it's ongoing. And that's where I think, especially in life coaching, because I guess I can kind of hit on that too. I do motivation, success. I guess you could say life coaching too.
Yeah.
But it's an ongoing inner process for you because you're the teacher. You're the one that's going to be teaching the information. So I find it as for myself, I think it's a great honor to, be able to help in any way possible through my podcast, through my media, through one-on-ones. And this is something that I'm going to continue doing forever because it makes me feel good that I can give back in that way. So, yeah.
Yes, that is so true. That's exactly how I feel. When I got into coaching, that really helped me get into the transition when I didn't have my flight benefits. And then I was still in the midst of, okay, I have my coaching, I'm doing that. I was still, learning and everything like that. I'm still being a flight attendant, just still kind of rocking in limbo world. And then, honestly, when COVID-19 hit, and before that, when COVID-19 hit, I was like, man, I just need a break. Like, if I can just have a break just to kind of pause button, reevaluate my life, see what's going on, just stripping all the layers. Because before I told you I stay in the UK. And then I also have my family here in America. My family's I'm just all over the place.
So you're still an American citizen, right? You just live in the UK? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Is this because you're a flight attendant because you make income from the United States and you can live in the UK?
So my boyfriend actually lives in the UK. I met him through my journey of being a flight attendant, and he really helped me during my journey of everything that I was going through.
So basically you have to come back. Is it 90 days? It's been a long time since I looked into it. So you have to come back every 90 days and get re-evaluated or something to go back to the UK?
So the most you can stay there is 6 months, but I'm trying to move into where I can actually live there fully.
Yeah.
So that's the transition I'm in right now.
I looked into it actually last year because I thought about moving, selling everything, taking me and the kids and moving to Paris or France, somewhere right in the middle so we can go and take trains and flights and whatever. It's not gone away. It's still right there. I need to figure out some more information. But so, I always liked Europe. I always liked the architecture. I always liked the history of Europe. So it is interesting. Yeah, you'll have to let me know how that all goes. I know there is
I'll let you know.
France. I know there is ways you can go if you I know there's ways that if you can teach or if you provide technical stuff. So there's always a way. You'll find it.
Yes, there's always a way. And if you do that, I would love to hear your story, or who knows, even meet up. That would be cool.
Yeah, I know. Where would you be? Where'd you be? Where are you temporarily when you're there?
I'm in Wales.
Okay, in Wales. Okay.
So Wales is really the outskirts of London, outside of London.
Yeah,
so it's a city. It's so beautiful there. It's so I know you love nature. There's a lot of mountains.
I've been to Windsor. This was many years ago. It's 10 years
Yeah.
ago now. I can't believe it's been 10 years now. But yeah, it was really, really, really gorgeous. Oh my God. Like rolling hills, horses, like fields. I was
Yes.
like, wait, why don't we see this like
It's
anywhere else?
so pretty.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. So, you know, when COVID-19 hit, which was very, it was very, honestly, I think COVID-19, with everything that's going on, this really allowed, maybe for some of us, really to see, what do I really want out of my life? Do I want to go back to the job or to the career or do I want to do a different path?
Yeah. And we
Being
all
at
have the
home.
option now. We all have the option. Before
Yeah.
we had all that pressure to be on work on time, to have that work-life balance, and now it's just like everybody's in the same position. Now, what do you want to do? So it really gave a lot of people opportunity where there wasn't before, and everybody's okay with everybody starting a business like today. Whereas before all this started, and you were like, well, how long are you in business? And be like, I just started 6 months ago. You might not get work, right? Because they're like, well, why is that? But now it's like everybody's more accepting. So there's a lot more opportunity than a lot of people, I think, realize. And if anybody listening on the live today, or, listening on the replay, there is tons of opportunity right now. So whatever you want to do, stop what you're doing and start working toward that, because you will get there.
Yes, yes. I agree with you so much. I think this really just gave people really an opportunity to really just dive deep within themselves and really just see their surroundings, their environment, who's in their life, all these things. What direction do I want to go next? This is the first time this ever happened.
Yeah.
In history that I know of, at least.
Yeah, not that I know of at all. Yeah.
Hey, like, the world stopped and you got to really just you weren't in a place that you were judged. And during this time, that's the time that I really opened up Traveling Realms. I've been working on that like the entire time, but I opened it up. And
now, what is the Traveling Realms for everybody that's listening? Because I've seen a couple things. I don't know too much about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, so Traveling Realms is transformational life coaching, and I work with frequent travelers who feel stuck in their lifestyle. I help them move out of that phase into living out their desired life. And that's a story, that I've been telling of how I felt very stuck. Everything was all over the place. You can even, people pleasing, from even being indecisive, even, I guess you can also say that too, because there's so many choices out there.
That's what I'm facing right now. Just like, well, do I move? Well, would it be better just to stay, and then I can travel? Or because I'm not only thinking for me, I got to think about my kids too. It's like, well, what dynamic will my choices put on their future? But I know kids are flexible. So yes. I know a lot of it is just in here, right? At the end of the day, it's all those mostly negative, right? Things that we go through, and we're just like, well, what if this happens, and what if that happens? And it's
exactly
not true.
That was literally going up.
It's true, and 99.9 is not even feasible, right? It'll never happen. So
yes, at that point, me doing Traveling Realms, it just opened up so much. Like, it really helped me get into my purpose in life. And I feel like I'm 100% living my purpose right now in life. And this is something I've always wanted to do. And it's like creating this platform, not saying you have to create something to live in your purpose.
That's true.
But really, this allowed me to really go through back. And a lot of times we always ask the question, who am I? That's a question that really pops up when you think about self-awareness. That was a talk I just did. And the question that really helps move through all of the indecisiveness or just figuring out what you want to do in life is, what is my ecology? What beliefs have I held on to for a long time since I was young that's holding me in this present state right now? And where do I want to go? And when I figured out my ecology, when I found out where I wanted to go, the question now is like, how I move through my life is, what are my top priorities? Like right now, as we speak, my top priorities, my 5 top priorities, me time. Me time allows me to really heal within myself so I can put in the work and I can give to others. It's so important, because if you're just out here just giving, then it's like, you need to give to yourself. It needs to be, that's how the universe works. The receiving and giving, like,
yeah, you have to. You can't just give everything. You have to have that time
receiving.
of receiving, like you said. Yeah, to heal, to learn, to grow. Yeah.
Definitely. And energy, my energy, that's also a priority too. Like, what am I aligned with and what am I not aligned with? And even if I'm not aligned with something, moving into the space of letting go and acceptance, and seeing everyone as equal, because each of our journeys or how we see the world is valid.
Mm-hmm.
You may not understand it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Being confident within yourself, know what you're aligned with. And then also another of my priorities is love and relationships, understanding what love and relationship I want to have, and how I understand now, like, who I want to surround myself with in my life is an exchange of acceptance, expression, and honoring, value, like honoring, linking to value. I feel like when you put the word respect, it almost kind of puts someone on a pedestal.
Yeah.
But honoring, you're valuing the person and that person is valuing you. And freedom is another one of my priorities, being able to really create. And another of my priorities right now is I think the other one that I put is time. Yes, because that's our greatest asset.
It is. I know, it's so undervalued. It really, it's the only thing we have to value is time, because that gives us the opportunity to be with the ones that we love, to give back. I mean, we really got to place that high, because when we're absorbed in things that take away from that do not satisfy us, we're losing our lives because of it. And I think about time a lot. In fact, that's one of my core values, is not to be restricted by time. And thinking back of, even, I'm 38, and thinking back, to my 20s and things. Well, that's always been like my core value. I never wanted my kids to be in public school for one of the reasons. There's multiple reasons, but one of the reasons was so we can control our own time. We can control our own destinies in a way. Because once you can control your time, you really can control your destiny, because you can decide exactly what you're going to do for exactly how long. And then you just have to be dedicated, committed to getting it done. And that's where a lot of people, I think, I don't want to say fail, because you're never a failure, just haven't learned yet. They haven't learned that they can take back their time. They can work for somebody if they want, but if they do, then, how much of their time they're putting into it, and is it worth whatever they're getting for it? If it's a wage, if it's knowledge, and then is it worth that time that they're trading for that? And
Exactly.
so it's very important, definitely. And I did like when you said about loving people and respect, and there was something I was going to say about that. Yeah, so it's a two-way street. And nobody should have the pedestal. Nobody should have the ultimate say. There should be no like head of household. There should not be like the one person that makes the decisions, because in relationships it should be that both people are honored, that we look at, just like anybody, like you mentioned before that, look at everybody as the same. And a lot of mindset stuff, a lot of things that I've learned, a lot of things that I kind of knew, but, just getting that validation. You treat people like you want to be treated, right? And then not only that, we are all gods. We're all spiritual beings. We're all made of the same stuff, right? Whatever the stuff is, we're all made of it, and that puts us all on the same playing field. That puts us all in the same, situations. And so we shouldn't like try to compete. There should be no competition. There's plenty of resources. There's plenty of abundance. We just got to look outside of the competition field, and just say, hey, I honor where you're at in your journey. And, like you said, keep growing, just keep growing and learning and showing others, what you're made out of. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, really me just thinking about kind of the message of struggle into hope.
Mm-hmm.
When I talk about the whole identity, like how I was struggling you don't have to, instead of looking for your identity, instead of looking like, okay, who am I? Who do I want to be?
Yeah,
Create
I love
the
that.
person who you want to be.
Yeah, because you
You
are
can be
you are the
whatever you
first
want to be.
person in your story. You are
Yeah,
first person. Yeah.
you can create who you want to be. And that's where I'm moving right now. I'm creating who I want to be. And how I'm doing that is really connecting with all parts of myself, the past parts of myself and the future self of who I want to be.
Yeah.
I've met the future version of myself, and that person really motivates me into going in the direction of who I want to be. And another thing that I've also talked about is, just because everyone around you says your life is so great, in your heart, if you feel like something has to change most likely. And it's like,
Most definitely. Most definitely.
yeah,
That's why you're feeling that. Yeah.
yeah,
That voice.
something has to change, and you're gonna find the people. You're never alone. You're never alone. Um, understand yourself. Learn to understand yourself, because once you learn to understand yourself, you're able to understand, the people around you, life around you, why it is the way it is when you know yourself. Because really, what you see is really a reflection of who you are.
I knew you were going to say that. Yes, totally.
I was thinking about what you.
Yes. I love how you put that you saw the future version of you. Now, would you say that's like when you were meditating, or did you actually meet a physical person? I just want to make that clear for everybody.
Yeah. So it was really meditating. It was really a self-talk. Like, this is through transformational coaching. And that's why it's so powerful, because it's not the information that creates the change, but it's the experience. And when it's all about asking the right questions. And that's what coaching does. Ask the right questions so you can answer it for yourself. And when I was being coached by one of my partners, we do transformational coaching to each other, but I was really closing my eyes, really figuring out my ecology, why I am the way I am, what brought me to that. And thinking about, well, where do I want to go in the future? Really getting in touch with my senses and seeing who I want to be in front of me, and really just that person and me having a conversation and really just being like, hey, the parts of you that are holding you back, you need to let that go. And it's not letting it go like, all right, you know what, this was me, I'm gonna just push that person on the side because that's not me. But it's really ensuring that those parts of you know that you are loved. There is safety, love, and belonging, the three basic human needs. That's why the changes that sometimes we want to make don't stick, because we have to make sure that the love, safety, and belonging is safe before we can move forward. If that makes, did that make sense? I don't know if I was going all over the place with my.
Yeah, that's fine. Safety, love, and belonging, but within yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
so when you want to do something, if I can give an example, so how you do one thing is how you do everything. So the people pleasing, right? That stemmed from childhood, and that's something I was still doing now. You know, the life that I was living and not figuring out what my true purpose is, just staying being a flight attendant and figuring out, wow, like I actually want to be a life coach. I want to inspire others and help others to live out their desired life. But I was stuck in the mode of people pleasing because everyone saw my life great. But it's like internally, I knew that I wasn't living out my purpose. But in order for me to see that, I needed to do the deep inner work within myself, figure out my ecology, and figure out where did that stem from. And really talking to that part of myself and being like, hey, it's okay. I am going to give myself permission to move forward. And there is going to be love, safety, and belonging. And that's where the 5 top priorities come in. Because once you know your 5 top priorities in life, and they can change at any time in your life, you're able to say no. And you really think long-term with your decisions. Every single day, you're like, well, I know that this, and this, and this are all my top 5 priorities. No to this, yes to this.
Boundaries are important. Yeah. Defining who you want to be and staying true to that no matter what. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I know that it may, you know, for people who are watching and they may not know their ecology, or maybe this conversation that we're talking about is really inspirational, but for you, it's far-fetched right now. It doesn't have to be. You can live out your desired life. You know, look at Amena. Look at me that's coming on. I'm living out my desired life.
Go listening to all of these stories. I mean, because it's the same message over and over and over. And you know, we have something powerful to tell you. We have something powerful to tell you. You gotta be willing to listen and hear it, and take that risk. Take that, you know, whatever you would call it. Get out of the comfort zone. You know, the risk isn't there. The risk is made up. Honestly, there is no risk. Life is meant to change. It's meant to grow. You know, you won't ever end up in a place that you don't want to be, ever.
Exactly.
It's just not possible. As long as you are wanting to grow and wanting to change and wanting to be better, you'll never end up at the bottom.
Exactly. And it, you know, something that really helped me, this is another thing that I've used as a foundation. I actually talk about this in my podcast I have of Traveling Realms, Balance Speaks. This is where we just get in the depths of our soul and I just talk. So it's not something that I look up or plan. It just, like you said, like just talking from the soul.
And that's what I make these very unplanned, because I don't want it to be scripted. I don't want it to feel made up. But you know, there's too much scripted. There's too much thought, and I think when we put in thought, when we actually think about it, and that's where we trip up and make a mistake. It's try to make it more too human, I think, and we need to be more spiritual, and we need to, you know, be willing to be vulnerable, and that's going to really resonate with people, just opening up like that.
Yes, just opening up. I talk about the chakras, and for those of you who don't know what chakras are, they're basically a way to really navigate within yourself and navigate the world you live in, you know, self-awareness. So I talk about the first chakra, which is the root chakra, and that really deals with alignment. And that's literally what we've been talking about the entire conversation. Once you know what you're aligned with, this is really your foundation of life. And, you know, things change. As you grow, your alignment starts to shift. And if the people around you or what is around you don't understand, that's okay. You are changing. That is why that's happening. And then we move into the second chakra, which really talks about really creativity, sexuality. So your feminine and masculine energy, the masculine energy, which is the doer, and most importantly, the being still. That's something, you know, a lot of us are always like, go, 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 do, gotta do this, you know, but it's important to be still. And
Yeah.
just you know, that's where your creativity really lies. And then the third chakra is your confidence. How can I move into a space of not just being confident in the areas that are aligned with me, but even confident in areas that are not aligned with me? And
Like
then,
learning from them.
yes, just being you unapologetically, whether people agree with you or not, just having
Yeah.
that confidence. And the last two that where I'm at right now, the fourth chakra talks about the heart space. That's where I talk about seeing beings, you know, people as equal to you and learning to accept and let go, because your alignment, your, you know, creativity, your masculine, your feminine energy, your confidence, you know, some people, you have to learn to accept and let go, because this conversation that we have, somebody out there may be like, I don't agree with anything you're saying. And
But you know what, guys? You're still listening. So there must be something here that you're resonating with, that you know
exactly.
your truth, but you need to keep going. You need to keep listening
Yes.
to the message. You need to keep re-listening to this episode, because you will get to that space. And even for me, it took me a while just to come to that aha moment. That was just like, it really is that simple. Like, it can't be. I mean, this whole like mess that I put myself through mentally, this whole like victim mentality, you know, all the ups and downs that everybody goes through in life, it really all has to come down to you. And
Yes.
you are powerful, and you can make the change in your life that's needed to align with the right people, align with the right companies or the right businesses or whatever it might be, you know.
Yes.
You just, it's that easy, but it's so hard because we were brought up that, you know, it's not possible, that it's not for us, that, you know, there's something there that's sacred or surreal that we just don't understand. But no, we're all the same. If you want to become a multimillionaire, if you want to become a head of a foundation that, you know, gives back worldwide, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom and raise 6 kids, all that's possible. You just got to choose and keep
Yes.
going for it. Yeah. And it's just
Yes.
amazing, you know, when you come to that realization.
Yes. Everything you're saying is so true. And just 3 last things. So the other chakra I talk about is your communication, right? Listening more than we speak. That's why we have Infinite Waters is one of my mentors. I say that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
I love that. Yeah, we do.
Yes. And another thing is, like you talk about, we are infinite beings living a human experience. You're not defined by anything. I'm not defined by being a flight attendant, which I still am, or being a traveling realms. That doesn't define me.
No.
It's just something that I do, but I am an infinite being. I can do whatever I choose to be, whatever space that I'm at in my life. And I want to really, inspire you guys to do that. Doesn't have to stop.
No, you can keep growing. I mean, even if you decide, I mean, there's plenty of people that's been successful in their 60s and 70s and
Yeah.
80s. I mean, how old's Warren Buffett? I'm not really sure, but I don't want to offend him if he ever listens to this. But he does what he loves to do, and he's totally successful, about it. And and that's with anybody. Age does not define you.
Yeah.
Circumstances doesn't define you. Only you, the things, I wish I knew the exact quote, but I don't. But the things that are told to you that you believe define you. The things that you tell yourself that you believe define you. And that's it. So if you want to be more, if you want to have more, you have to change the way you think about yourself and your situation and the people around you.
True.
Yeah.
Change your beliefs and you change your life, everyone.
Yeah.
Start knowing what your beliefs are.
Yeah, exactly. And I wish I remember the quote, because I don't think I wrote it down, but I was reading some Einstein stuff and his quotes and everything. And basically he said, you mentioned a little while ago, creativity. It's the creativity space that we're trying to get to, that's the inner self. That's the spiritual self. That is God. That is the universe speaking to us. That is us in essence, right? Outside our human form. And he had a quote. Like I said, I wish I wrote it down, but I don't think I did. Basically, he said, without creativity, we're nothing. Without that inner voice, we're nothing. And if any of you guys ever looked up like inventions and how they were made, and you actually read bios from people that are now looked at and revered as like these amazing people that made these amazing inventions, what they have. However, if you actually dig into their history and read their success, struggle to success stories, they started just like all of us. And they don't credit themselves for any of it, at least like none that I've read. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some narcissist ones out there that says I am, God of world, and and everything.
Yeah.
All the ones that are humble, right? Credits, that inner voice. Credits, the universe for getting them that information to make that happen. So
I agree so much, because it's when you really set out and you really get in touch with your creativity, it becomes bigger than you. It becomes bigger than you. It really does. And it's like, I don't know, sometimes the words can't really, it's just a feeling.
it is.
And it's like when you understand that feeling, and when you look at other people, like now when I look at people on TV or just like look at people do things, I'm like, I feel you. I get what you're doing. Keep on doing it, because I have that inside too.
Yeah. And then on the flip side, all the people that like hate on other people, you're just like, you haven't came to the same spot as me. We're not there. You're not at the same level. And I like how you said that, when you don't align with people, you'll find new people. But also those people that don't align with you go away. So that's a good thing. At least for the most part, they did. You'll have the ones that try to stick on and like bring you down to their level. But majority of them will just, find their own directions.
That's
which is
true.
okay, guys. Don't panic. Like if all like your circle like seems to be disappearing, look for the light. There's something there. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then even, the people who are around you, sometimes your relationships with them, sometimes they're forever, sometimes it's just for a little bit, and sometimes it's just a high and by situation. And
That's actually, I was just listening to Jim Rohn, which was, what is it called? The Four Seasons, I think. And talk about it. And he talks about that. It's basically, like I said, another quote that I wish I remember off the top of my head. People are sometimes here for a season, right? And not a lifetime. And it's so true. Like, because they're put in your path for maybe just to give you more experience, maybe just to help you get to a new place, maybe to put you through a bad experience so you learn the good about it, right? But yeah, everybody, it doesn't have to be a lifetime. You could still gain knowledge and grow. So yeah.
I agree with you. Like, and when you're in the midst of being a creator or just understanding yourself, who you want to be in life, wherever direction you go, you're going to be so busy doing that you're going to be like, oh, that person left. I didn't even know.
I didn't notice. Yeah, where did okay. Where'd they come from? Oh, I told you. That's true.
It's just going to happen. It's just going to synchronize so well, that you're just going to be in the midst of doing things, and things get hard. You have your tribe, you have, watch Amena and watch all her powerful things that she has about the stories of hope. That's what's going to get you to still keep on pushing. And if you need coaching, I'm here.
Yep. And I was getting ready to ask you that, Angela. So, Angela, where would people go to find out more about your coaching and what you're doing right now?
Yes. So if you are really interested, please join our tribe. We are a loving and open group of people. Type in Traveling Realms. So
that's easy to spell. I think you get it. I'll put it in the details too on the podcast and on the YouTube.
So, come. You can, find me on YouTube, any podcast platform.
Now, is it all under Traveling Realms?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Good.
And Instagram, we have a masterclass that we do every other week. So if you look at any of those platforms, you can join our class and find a tribe. Surround yourself with people who are on a similar journey where you can grow. So even if the people around you don't get you, that's okay. You have your tribe.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then, if your tribe doesn't fit or the people move on and you're ready to do something different, then you can always try something different. That's how easy it is, right?
Yes.
We make it so difficult. Yeah. So, okay, so they can go to Traveling Realms and sign up for any of the coaching or any of the tribe stuff. And you're like on all social media, it sounds like. Anything, any events or anything that they need to know about coming up?
So if you are on Facebook, and you can even see my personal Facebook, Angela Ochieng, I'm actually doing a live this Friday, and it's going to be the self-love cleanse. And I'm going to talk about how self-awareness can lead you to self-love. Because once you learn how to love yourself fully and entirely, internally, externally, you're able to go out there and love. And that's really your foundation of life.
This is foundation. The foundation of life. Yep. Totally true. Yep. All right. Thank you, Angela, for being so amazing and coming on to this Message of Hope, Struggle to Success series. I totally appreciate you, and stay with it. Stay with it.
Thank you.
And stay with it, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yes. I love, everything you do. So keep on doing it. She's awesome if you're watching this.
Yeah, thank you. Well, they will be if they're not watching the live. They'll be watching the replay. And so you guys know, let me give you the addresses to those as well. So if you want to watch the replay from the live, you can go to your web browser and type in amena.media, and that'll take you right over to all the videos from the Message of Hope Struggle to Success series. To listen to the podcast on 8 networks now, you can go to anchor.fm/oneup. Again, that's anchor.fm/oneup. And we are now on Apple Podcasts. So I'm so excited because I've already seen a lot of people come from there. So super exciting. And thank you guys all for joining in on the live. Totally appreciate you guys watching the behind the scenes as well. Hopefully you took away some nuggets of wonderful, inspiring information that's going to push you through the rest of the today. Make sure you watch the replay so, you can go back and, uncover anything that you might have missed. Definitely. Angela, is there anything else that you'd like to say before I let you go today?
Be yourself unapologetically and know that you are an infinite being living out a human experience. So just accept that, appreciate that, and let go. And that's where living life really begins.
Love it. Thank you, Angela. Again, I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.